Hello and welcome. This channel is full of informative and entertaining videos covering the most fascinating and exciting topics from around the world. We explore nature, science, history, culture, and more to keep you informed and engaged. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and let's start exploring together. The scientific method is a series of ideas and practices for conducting experiments, observation, and analysis in order to describe and explain the natural world. Scientists use this method to study many different aspects of our world, including biology, chemistry, physics, astronomy, earth science. You name it. The scientific method is a series of ideas and practices for conducting experiments, observation, and analysis in order to describe and explain the natural world. The scientific method is a series of ideas and practices for conducting experiments, observation, and analysis in order to describe and explain the natural world. The scientific method is a series of ideas and practices that are used to describe and explain the natural world. The scientific method can be summarized in 4 steps. The scientific method can be summarized in 4 steps. Problem statement, hypothesis generation and testing, data analysis, results interpretation and conclusion. Hypothesis. We develop a hypothesis about how an experiment might work. The first step in any scientific experiment is to make a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a statement of fact that describes what we expect to happen when we run the experiment. It's also based on how we think things work, rather than just being random guesses. For example, if I drop 3 balls from the top of this building, they will all fall down to the ground before hitting anything else, because gravity works. If I place 1 candy bar under my left foot and 1 candy bar under my right foot, but don't move them until after having eaten both pieces of candy bar, so no one can see both pieces of them, there will be only 2 candies left over at my feet when I finish eating them, because each piece takes up half again as much space as an individual piece would do if it weren't split apart like this. Experiment. We do an experiment to test our hypothesis. An experiment is a method of testing your hypothesis. It's designed to answer a specific question, and it follows a set of steps. The purpose of an experiment is to help you determine whether your hypothesis is correct or false. You might be wondering, why would anyone think this? Why would they want to test their own idea? Well, for example, imagine that we have discovered some new type of plant, but can't tell if it's safe for humans or not. We could use an experiment as part of our research into the matter. We'd start by growing several different types in our greenhouse until we get enough information about which ones are safe and which aren't. Then we'd test them against each other under controlled conditions like temperature control systems, so they're more likely to produce consistent results when tested together again later down the road, which means less guesswork involved overall. Observation. We record our observations of what happens when we run the experiment. You may want to collect data manually or record the results of your computer. Observation. We record our observations of what happens when we run the experiment. You may want to collect data manually or record the results of your computer. Analysis. We analyze the data and draw conclusions based on it.
Gee, why did this happen? What caused this?
Data collection. We gather all of our data needed for analyzing it later, whether that's visualizing your data on graphs or writing down everything you've collected so far. Data collection is the process of gathering and recording data. It's a critical part of the scientific method because it allows us to analyze our results, which help us make decisions about what we do next. The scientific method consists of 3 steps. Observations. You want to record every aspect of your experiment, including how many times you made each observation. How long did each observation last? What happened during those observations, for example? How many times did one animal run away? and how many animals were involved in each observation. Hypotheses. This step involves choosing an explanation for why something happened based on your observations. In other words, saying, I think this happened because, rather than I wonder why, experiments. Now that we have a hypothesis about why something happened according to our observations, we guess that X caused Y. We can test whether or not those two things are linked by conducting experiments where a cause is B, but not vice versa. Analysis and conclusion. We analyze the data collected in step 3 and draw conclusions about whether our hypothesis was correct or not, using logic and reasoning. From the data, we can draw conclusions about whether our hypothesis was correct or not. In this case, it's safe to say that it wasn't. We analyzed the results from step 3 and found many problems with our hypothesis. Some of these problems include: the number of students who were able to answer questions correctly was much lower than expected, only 4 out of 20. This isn't enough evidence for us to conclude that there is a relationship between scientific knowledge and math ability. We just don't have enough data here yet. We have covered a lot of ground in this video. The scientific method is an important tool for any scientist, whether they are studying Earth or Mars. It allows us to make observations about the world around us and then use those observations to develop theories about how things work. By following these steps, we can discover new facts about our universe. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please let me know in the comments below. See you in the next video.